Gonna lie to you, I'm kind of on one today. That's right, we are looking live over GCI, Golf Club of Indiana, where we have our 13th annual Tom Dakich, sponsored by Horseshoe Indianapolis, presented by Gemco Golf Outing. It's a memorial golf outing, even though my father's only been passed away for 8 years. We just added the previous 5 on and said to hell with it. Let's go. Hey, welcome and thanks to my guy Ryan, who set this entire deal up. I'm on one today, and I'm on one for a variety of reasons. Let's start with Bob Huggins. Look, here's the deal. I told you this, and I told you this. I was the only media guy that had the nuts to tell you that Bob Huggins was working behind the scenes along with his family, along with a couple of boosters to try to get his job back. The initial plan, I was told, was, all right, hey, look, we are going to try to go to rehab, let the interim coach coach a year, and come back as the White Knight saving the career. Well, that didn't go as planned. I'm being told that, well, Huggy and them got blanked off for a variety of reasons. One of those reasons is they didn't think the plan was going to work. They didn't think that West Virginia was going to be all in on this. So guess what? A new plan developed. And you know what that new plan is? That new plan is, oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we never resigned. That letter you saw from us about retiring, that didn't mean anything. He went full Costanza. He did. You can tweet, yeah, there you go. Last month, West Virginia announced the resignation of head coach Bob Huggins following the DUI. Huggins' attorney says he never resigned. He's demanding reinstatement, threatening to sue, and claiming West Virginia accepted a resignation from a text from his wife. West Virginia, you can just roll the next one too, is just laughing at him. West Virginia released a statement, said, yeah, right, go away. Sorry this all happened, but we're not even messing around. We're not even messing around with this. Sue us, do whatever you want. See, this is what you get when you get that emboldened coach, that coach that is there. Pat Forty actually wrote a really good article on it. He did. He wrote a terrific article about this, meaning, look, you got Huggins, and now I'm going to get into the next one in a minute. You got Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern. You get that emboldened coach, right? And when that happens, it is hard to get rid of them because they're like squatters. They are. The family's emboldened. The kids are emboldened. Everybody has to have a piece of this pie. I saw it with the Knights. I did. I saw it with Bob Knight. And I saw it with his family. They didn't care whether or not Bob Knight was good, bad, happy, or sad. They didn't care. They just want him to be the coach because everybody was getting fat off of him. So now Huggins wants back. This is a problem for Gordon Gee because Huggins is a favorite son. There are boosters there in an era of NIL, and West Virginia has done really well with the NIL funding. They've done great work with it. Thus, they're pretty good in the transfer portal, although 3 of their own have left and the roster's been a little bit decimated. But you can't give in on this. There's no chance in hell. And all this does is make Bob Huggins look like what Bob Huggins is. Look, I've told you this before. One guy that I ever let hang with me, Greg Doyle, bad guy. And I distanced myself from him. But we all saw a year ago how that all came back to fruition. You don't associate with rotten people because no matter what, it's always going to come out. And in Huggins' case, here's what you know. Here's what you know. This is the surface. What has been going on for 20 years at West Virginia with Huggins? I guarantee you, I know it's a ton. Yes, he's raised money. Yes, he's done good things. That's great. You're supposed to. But a DUI and homophobic slurs, the dude's lucky he didn't lose his job in the first place. Hey, look, if he didn't resign, good. Fire his ass. I don't care. But he will not be coaching at West Virginia. There is no chance West Virginia gives in on this. And frankly, they simply just discarded him, and now Huggins looks like an idiot. I'll tell you who's got a problem. Pat Fitzgerald has a problem. I like Pat Fitzgerald. Everybody likes Pat Fitzgerald. I'll tell you who else has a problem. Players at Northwestern. Now, people are on me early today. They're on me. They're on me big time because I am all over the players. Here's what happened. I'll never understand Players and nudity. Hey, look, I understand you're in the shower. Okay, that's the nudity. But I'll never understand doing something somehow, some way with naked bodies of men in a locker room being forced to touch each other. We had it here in Carmel High School years ago. A real notable IU player's son was involved in this. And next thing you know, the coach lost his job. But I've never understood this. I remember going back in high school, a rival school. They were taking sticks or whatever and sodomizing. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Like, why? Look, the only hazing that was ever done in my 20 plus years of coaching, and I don't even know if this is hazing, maybe it would be considered now, is freshmen had to help the managers with the bags. The managers had all these bags. They had film bags, they had ball bags, they had all these bags, all these equipment bags. And I got to tell you, that's it. I never understood it, will never understood it, and I'm so glad that when I went to Indiana, it was not a part of the basketball program. It was part of other programs of friends of mine that went to play. I remember a couple buddies of mine coming back after being there in the summer at different schools going, man, we got idiots as seniors. These guys, but it was never naked stuff. It was never naked stuff. Like, I'll never understand the naked stuff. I'll never understand the mentality that leads a dude to think it's okay to do whatever. I don't even know. You tell me. I'll never understand. So people are on me, right? No, people are all over me. People are mad at me. But now what Northwestern is doing is the Bob Knight strategy. And look, I don't blame you. The Bob Knight strategy was always this. Get the former players, get the current players to rally around the coach. Talk about how much you've learned from him. Talk about what a great guy he is. And you've seen this all across the internet, all across Twitter over the last couple days. And that's great. Pat Fitzgerald, by every account, is a great dude. Nobody's saying he's not. But why did he allow this? Why was this a part of it? You know, why? Why was there anything even remotely sexual in nature a part of the program? Tell me and I'll listen. So what happens was now the president of the university came out and said, all right, 2 weeks. It was a Friday news dump. We're going to give him a 2-week suspension. It's during a dead period, by the way, when he's being suspended without pay. Now, that's significant, right? I mean, a dude makes millions, and it's going to be a decent-sized fine, but it's not going to impact him. Then the president said, whoa, wait a second. Hold the phone here. I didn't take into account the fact that he should have known. And that's a big account. There's the entire football team. Of course, the entire football team sent a letter. Oh, great. That's awesome. Fantastic. That's great. Yes, he's a great man. Yes, blah, 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 blah. Awesome. Great. Fantastic. Why'd you have hazing? And to you players, why'd you haze? You know, I'm reading all these glowing comments about how Fitzpatrick helped me and I'm using what I learned as a father now. And that's all true, I guarantee you. But why did you players haze? What made you think it was okay to do that? And frankly, I'll blame Fitzpatrick like everybody else. Hey, look, you're overseeing the program. You're Lord God King Northwestern. We all understand that, right? But the fact of the matter is the players did the actual hazing. What did you get out of that? That's my problem. Like, all these guys are on Twitter going, oh man, Coach Fitz is the greatest. I love the man. Why'd you haze? And if you really look at it, not one of these guys, zero of these guys, is saying hazing never occurred. And there was an independent group hired by Northwestern that found that hazing did occur. Now look, if you're going to tell me hazing was making freshmen wear ties, or freshmen wear jacket and tie on campus on game day, or get the bags, all right, fine. I mean, who gives a rat's? But the hazing went beyond that. The hazing went to the point of, and this is the stuff that, who knows what's really true, right? Sexual assault is what they're claiming. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. In Indiana, there was a player from Indianapolis named Roby who drugged or flunked or something out of Tennessee. He comes back to IU, same thing. He was a big-time recruit. He was a pain. They got rid of him, and he's the guy that started alleging that Kevin Wilson back in the day was too mean, too hurtful. ESPN picked it up, and Wilson got fired. So I honestly don't know, because there are reports that a player had an extensive grudge against Fitzpatrick, and he had, ladies and gentlemen, an extensive agenda to get this thing and get him out of here. I don't know. I have no idea. Running of players, car washes, penis, I can't help you. Naked slingshot, naked bear crawls. I've never understood the naked thing. I don't. I will never in my life understand it, but they did it. They're not denying that they did it. And yet all anybody wants to say is Fitzpatrick's a great guy, or whatever the hell his name is. I don't even care. I honestly don't. Guys are blanking me off. To me, if you're going to be a leader, you know that this stuff is happening, and I better not see it in my world. I just better not. And if I do, you're done. And if I do more than one, no, not ever. It can't be in your culture. I brag about this, and I'm going to brag now. When it was going on, when stuff was going on in college, a doctor named Nick Pappas was talking about two different teams. He wrote a book about deviant sports behavior within college athletics. Calls me up. Says, hey, Dan, I want to interview your players. I go, you interview my players. He calls me later. You know what he says? I never seen anything like it. I never seen anything like it. You've got the greatest culture that I've ever seen. I call him Fitzpatrick. It's Fitzgerald. My bad. I don't even care. I can't believe it. So I leave, and Louis Orr comes into Bowling Green, and he's like, this is a perfect setup. Everybody's on time for every class. Everybody's a little bit scared. Nothing wrong with that. Fitzgerald, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Fitzgerald is going to be fired at some point. There's no question about it. There's no way around it. And that's sad, because I'm sure he's a good dude. But you know what? If you didn't know, you should have known. But I wonder about all these players. Players get they skate in today. Well, they're just kids. No, they're not. No, they're not. Stop with they're just kids. What is it? I'm a grown man? Man, I'm a grown man. Oh, okay. Or is it, I don't know, you're a kid. I don't know. It's a grown man when you want something, when you want to be paid like a freaking, employee, but I'm a kid when you got to answer for being a sexual deviant. No, it's true. No, it's really true. So people are saying what Patino did was worse, this is worse. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But I got to tell you, the sex thing, if I'm a former player at Northwestern, I'm not too proud to have been associated with that program, because once people get to where I already am, which is, okay, the coach is in real trouble, but what are you players doing? What's wrong with you? Why are we having naked walkthroughs or crawls? Why? What is that about? I just want you to think about that for a second. All right, we're having a naked crawl today. Some guy's going to crawl naked and you're going to smack him, or you're going to dry hump him. Jeez, I got to tell you, I've always said, I'm from a different universe. I am. Because that stuff does not even sound human to me. That could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure I am. I don't doubt that I am. But I got to tell you, holy cow. The homeless in Seattle are not happy. The homeless in Seattle are saying, we're going to F up the All-Star game being played in Seattle. Okay. All right. But before I get to that, Dylan, Dana White. Oh, let's stay with that. That's fine. Let's stay with that. So the homeless in Seattle are saying, hey, look, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to F up the All-Star game because, well, I'll tell you why, for real. People are paying attention to us. People are paying attention to us as homeless folks. And when you pay attention to homeless folks, like the whole LGBTQRA whatever community who wanted, hey, we just want respect. We just want to be able to get married. All right, how's that working out? Now we want to come after your kids. It's never just one thing. So you got this crew here that is being paid attention to. And, oh, man, look, hey, you're paying attention to us? Well, we're going to cause trouble. Well, why? I mean, okay. I mean, that's what you're going to do? But why? Well, because we have some power. Anytime you give certain folks power, you know what you're asking for? You're asking for trouble. So you gave these guys power. Okay? All right. Well, now you got to live with it. Because they're emboldened in Seattle. They're not effing up anything. They're not going to F up a damn thing. They can act like they are. They can say they are. But they ain't effing up nothing. There ain't nothing going to happen with the Seattle homeless group and their little threats. F baseball, F this mayor, F this city. Let's F up their day, July 11th, the All-Star game. Okay. They've been pushing us around for months, hoping to clear us out of sight for the MLB All-Star game on July 11th. Let's make sure all their work was for nothing. That means the homeless are going to sit out there. Good for them. Who gives a rat, seriously? I mean, I don't know. I'm very, very sensitive to the homeless. I always feel that I'm one stupid comment away. I've always felt that my whole life. But yeah, you know what? Take your best shot. Take your best shot. I don't know. Take your best shot. Speaking of taking your best shot. Now, there is no bigger Weasley group than the print media. I've told you this. But Dana White was not having any of it, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White wasn't messing around. Dana White, when asked about racism in a fight among two African-American fighters, Dana White had this to say. Let's listen to Dana White.
The tension between those two and kind of the racial undertones and all those things. How do you...
What were the racial undertones?
Drigga says he's the real African fighter, and so, you know, Israel dropped some N-words in there tonight.
So what was the racial? Who did? Who dropped the racial?
Israel was saying over and over, yeah. Dropped
he's black.
50 N-bombs in there.
Okay, he's black. Who gives a
I was going to say, so you don't have any concern about the way the build-up, the tension between those two?
I could care less. This is the fight business. Israel Adesanya can say whatever he wants to say. Who gives a Why are people about that?
Some people.
Of course they are. Oh, A. All right, got it. Yeah. Too bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Last.
Yeah, just some Weasley media guy. Oh, well, the racial undertones. Yeah, this is the answer that everybody should give. If it's silly. If it's silly, then you got to just say, you know what? F that. Who cares? People talk. It's a fight business. Hey, look, it's a baseball business. Hey, look, it's a football business. Hey, look, yeah, tough. Dakich is black. All right, he's white. Okay, great. Who cares? No, I don't care. You don't care. The reporter doesn't care. I mean, let's be honest. That reporter's trying to get Dana White to say something. Now, you can dislike Dana White. You can be mad at Dana White. You can say, well, Dana White slapped his wife. Sure you can. But you know what Dana White didn't do when he slapped his wife? Neither he nor his wife apologized and moved on. Yeah, we screwed up and then moved on. I'm telling you, that's what you do. That's what you do. You do that. You do not worry about crap from some little Weasley reporter trying to get you a gotcha, trying to get you something good, trying to get you. He's trying to get us. Yeah, great. Oh, okay, great. Hey, who gives up? He just destroyed this little guy, and I am here for it. Dan, it is, I couldn't care less, but it is so common, it's unacceptable to say, I could care less. Yeah, who cares? Yeah, I don't give a rat's ass either way, Keith. You know what I mean? Whatever, man. No, I mean, if you're worried about that, one was black, the other was white, good. Everybody fight. It's a fight game. You're right, my bad. Yeah, I don't care. And I never cared. I saw this yesterday, and I'm like, good for Dana White. Every single buddy should react this way. People say things. That word is dropped. When I was coaching, I had a rule. Look, I don't want to hear the N-word in the locker room, and I don't want to hear I hate white people music. That's what I got. You can say that's awful. I don't care how loud you play. I don't give a damn as long as everybody's happy. But I don't want to hear the N-word, and I don't want to hear I hate white people. Because NWA, I think, was coming up. I don't even know. But I just don't want to hear it. Oh, that's terrible. Great, that's terrible. Did not want to hear it. So there you go. Now, everybody else, maybe they don't feel that way. Maybe it's, hey, look, we got to let the players do what the players do. I'm down with all of that. But that's the way my show was going to be ran, period. Period. This is the best story, and I got to get to this. You know, on the 4th of July, Ben & Jerry's, a company that's no longer owned by Ben & Jerry, by a British company now, made that idiotic tweet about the United States is on stolen property, stolen from indigenous people. We demand you give their land back. This is too good. A Native American tribe that owned land where Ben & Jerry's headquarters happens to be they want their land returned. They want their land returned, ladies and gentlemen, after the company publicly called for stolen lands to be returned. I don't think, and Dylan and Ryan and Nick put this on the list, I think they're absolutely right. I don't think Ben & Jerry's figured this one out. I don't think Ben & Jerry's had a real handle on this. Like, if you're going to go be sanctimonious, then you know what you got to do? You got to have your house in order. If you're Ben & Jerry and you're crying about indigenous land, now I will tell you, if you subscribe to the what's the right word? All publicity is good publicity, and Ben & Jerry's has come out of my mouth and the mouth of others often since the 4th of July, and maybe everything else was slipping, okay, but they've lost over $2 billion themselves in a Bud Light type boycott. Conservatives, you're kicking ass. You seriously are kicking the living you know what. You know what I mean? Yeah. Conservatives are saying enough. Megan Rapinoe, ladies and gentlemen, she's retiring. She's retiring to become a political activist is what the word on the street is. So good for Megan Rapinoe. Megan Rapinoe's smart. I'll tell you why she's smart. She's made an industry of being horrible, but she dates a woman or married or whatever the hell they are with Sue Bird, who people kind of like. Smart of Megan Rapinoe to retire now. Men pretending to be women will soon take over women's soccer, and Rapinoe will cheer them on as they do, because the man won't threaten her job. That's exactly right. And if you don't think that's right, you're insane. That's exactly right. They won't threaten her job. She's done. Isn't that what Riley Gaines said? She's done. Let all the men come on in, baby. Let all the men come in and take their jobs and take their sport over and kick women out. But hey, I got blue hair and cool shades. And the ESPYs are being stupid enough to go ahead, and you all know this, they're going ahead and honoring these women as opposed to Peyton Hillis, who, I don't know, saved 2 people. A courage award to these ladies. All right. Okay. All right, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do, ESPN. I get it. That's fine. But let's be perfectly honest. These women aren't brave. These women are a pain in the ass that would get beat and did get beat by like a 12-year-old boys team. I mean, that's just the way it is. And they want equal everything. And yeah, they had a nice run. Good for them. They had a good run. But it showed you that American women are ahead of everybody else in the world. But now we're going to have men playing, and you women are going to be out, and you're going to get pissed at some point. Don't tell me you're not, because you are. If you missed the beginning of the show, Huggy Bear wants his job back. We're going to talk to our friend Jonathan Hutton from Hot Mike coming up here in a few minutes. But Huggy Bear wants his job back. Huggy Bear is doing a George Costanza. He is saying, oh, whoa. I didn't resign. I wonder if Huggy Bear is showing up in the Coliseum, which is where they play. I wonder if he's showing up and saying, hey, guys, how you doing? What's going on? Huggy, what are you doing here? I didn't resign. I didn't resign. They didn't fire me. What are you talking about? This is going to get sexy. This is really going to get sexy. And then, of course, you know what you got to do if you're really interested in this Fitzgerald, whoever the hell he is, coach. Look, he's a blockhead football guy, allowing blockhead football guy stuff in his program. So blockhead football guy allowing blockhead football stuff in his program, it's no surprise that at some point, because players do get disgruntled, even if you treat them great. But at some point, blockhead football guy allowing blockhead football stuff, it's going to get out in public, and now you're going to have to answer for it. You got a president that just got there from Oregon. He put a statement out saying, yeah, we're suspending him 2 weeks without pay on a Friday news dump. The newspaper, the Daily Northwestern, or whatever the hell it's called, did a little digging. Next thing you know, got a couple former players to send him screenshots of the actual, hey, look, this guy are up for the naked stuff. And next thing you know, ladies and gentlemen, you got a coach that's embattled, and he is the face, without question, of Northwestern University, right or wrong. The further interesting stuff is this. The further interesting stuff is, Northwestern is like the bastion of woke media. Our friend Mike Greenberg and Wilbon and Adonde, and of course Christine Brennan, and all these women, media people. Any of them come out against Northwestern? I haven't seen, because I guarantee you they haven't. Or if they have, I saw Darren Ravel say, whoa, really? Okay. Whoa. All right, fine. I seen players come, why are you hazing? I mean, I'll listen. I want to know, why hazing? Well, it's team bonding. Naked? I got to tell you, man, if when I was playing in Indiana in the first week of practice, Randy Whitman and Kitchell and those guys did some naked stuff, my ass would have been out of there in a hurry. I don't even care if I had to go to Wabash, where, it's all guys, didn't matter to me. I ain't doing the naked stuff. Apparently Northwestern is. And all of these tweets, and you can look them up for themselves, and this really has me irritated. All of these tweets from all of these players, the whole team, blah, 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 blah. Talking about what a great man Fitz is. None of them are saying that it didn't happen. They can't, because an independent counsel or independent group came in and said, yes, we have hazing here, so we are going to cost the coach, dock the coach, 2 weeks pay, 14 days pay. All right? That's what you do, so you can't deny it, so why were you doing it, players? If the coach is this great guy, he is the greatest guy, why were you doing it? I don't know. Last thing before I go, let me ask you a question. So the other day, I'm in a bit of a mood, let's put it that way. And I'm tired of the Colts. And I'm tired of ex-Colts players. Like, I love the Colts. I want the Colts to win. You know what I mean? I do. I want the Colts to win. But I'm looking at Twitter, and there's a Colts player, Reggie Wayne. So Reggie Wayne is on Twitter. Yeah, all right, you're on Twitter. I've said this about players. Players aren't human beings until they have been out of the game for 5 years. Players still think you care about them. They don't care about a former player. Who cares who's next? It's like dating when you're divorced. Reggie Wayne comes out with, hey guys, where are you? Are you going to different websites? Oh, I don't know. Are you guys making the switch over from Twitter? Let me ask you, Colts fans, all the little fat kids, the effeminate male blogger boys, and others are all over me. Well, you can't say that to Reggie Wayne. Oh, okay. Do you hear the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Rams, coaches saying anything like that? Do you hear Duke, coaches saying, and they got to recruit. Do you hear, I don't know, name a baseball coach, Aaron Boone, worried about that? Do you hear anybody that's had any success as a coach worry about that? Now, you got to understand, Reggie Wayne is one of them dudes that's coach. And he admitted, about halfway through the season, I started thinking about warm weather, palm trees, and Miami beaches. Really? Did you know that Reggie Wayne is responsible, along with others, for the wide receivers? Did you know that 5 different individual players, 3 wide receivers and 2 tight ends, had more touchdowns than the entire Colts wide receiver room? And you people are mad at me? You people don't understand, and I've tried to educate you. I thought I educated Indy better. And Reggie Wayne is like, you talking to me? Of course I'm talking to you. Walk like a man. No wonder Peyton Manning, arguably, you can make the case, he had 55 NFL records, arguably the greatest football player ever, only went to 2 Super Bowls in 14 years, and he went to 2 and 4 with Denver. Maybe Peyton Manning played with children here in Indianapolis. Jeez, it's amazing to me. Well, Reggie Wayne's a hero. Yeah, okay, pull this, it plays Jingle Bells. And then yesterday, odd tweet, I just drove 12 and a half hours and didn't listen to one song during the drive. You think you can do that? I don't know, Reggie. Jeez, I don't know. Golly gee. Just work to be a better coach. When you go 1 in a million, when your group stinks, just work to be a better coach. We're going to be back, gritty. I did this for you, baby. I did this for you. We got Jonathan Hutton coming up, the most handsome man in media, not named Dakich. Look at this beautiful day. We're at the Tom Dakich Memorial Golf Outing where we're raising a bunch of money today for kids, for bikes. I love it. We'll be back.
Welcome into OutKick the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader.
I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life.
ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
We live in a land of participation trophies.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
When Leah Thomas walked in that first day, it got silent, and every girl was uncomfortable.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the #1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna lib. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
We've seen coaches throw water bottles. We've seen coaches act like idiots. We've seen coaches slap other coaches. But I think if you're involved in carjacking, you're inherently a rotten human being. The level of stupid that sometimes gets on our YouTube chat just gives me a headache. You're born a male, play with males. You're born a female, play with females. Don't at me about it, people.
I believe this person is the greatest player anybody alive will ever see. How can you hate Derek Jeter? A guy's on-base percentage tells me his batting eye, and a guy's slugging percentage tells me if he's a threat. That's the kind of guy that throws a no-hitter, that effectively wild guy.
You know, I'm just sitting here minding my own business, and my good friend Jeff Rubenstein here at the Golf Club of Indiana, which is over my shoulder, just dropped me a little bit of rye courtesy of my friend and our boss, Aaron Spielberg. Private selection, Golf Club of Indiana, cast strength, all this kind of stuff. Hey, journeyman, last feather, this is awesome. How about that? Look, here's what happens at my outing, and Jonathan, you'll appreciate this. I stand on the 17th hole We got burgers cooking. We got booze flowing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I hit 1,000,000 balls at this par 3, and everybody gets a birdie because I'm going to knock one close. And by the end of the day, I don't drive home. Let's put it that way.
Well, you better get started. You better get started. There's something wrong with that bottle, and it's not open. That's the issue. There's a lot of bottles in this building, too, here at 6th and Peabody that need to be cracked open.
Do you like rye?
Should I put my sunglasses on for this? Just to match you?
Yes, let's be cool.
I mean,
let's be cool.
I'll take them off in a moment. Just,
Yes.
But there you go.
Man.
That's all for you,
You
Dan.
just made one woman here. You made my friend Jennifer Land. Oh, I'm not supposed to say her last name because there's too many creeps out there. You just made her day because this is too much sexy right here. Hey, I know you saw this. Hey, Huggy Bear's going Costanza.
Man,
I didn't quit. What are you talking about?
What about this guy, Dan? No, first off, you were on with us the day that he was fired. And, well, the day he wasn't fired, I should say. Chad and I automatically thought he was going to, get the axe based on his comments on Cincinnati radio. He didn't, and you said from the jump they're not going to fire him. My recollection is that the story that came out where he resigned, correct me if I'm wrong, it was one of those deals where resign or be fired. So I don't know where West Virginia comes across as, the beta in this, but Huggins has been playing them for the last year or so. At least that's my read on it. And I'm looking at this thinking, how does he want to play the victim card when he's had the second chance already, and this has happened at a previous stop while at Cincinnati? Now he's saying that his wife is the one that resigned. West Virginia's saying that it wasn't a text message, it was an email. I mean, just show us the email and be done with it, and be done with Bob Huggins.
Yeah, I said this on this show. I got a lot of friends still in coaching, and they told me, Dan, no coach is touching this job. They tried to get John Beilein to come, and I'll tell you exactly why. And we said this at the time, Jonathan. The family is working behind the scenes. The original plan was for Huggins to go on a 60-day, it was, rehab, come back next year, and in their mind, he has some boosters that are involved in this as well. In their mind, 60-day rehab, let this year happen, come back next year, and sit in the seat all cleansed. West Virginia said, what are you, nuts? That's when you saw the daughter. That's when you saw all that crap coming back. So that's why nobody would touch this job, and it's a good job.
Yeah, a very good one. And you're insulated there, right? I mean, that would be the reason why you would want to take the job. There's a positive and negative to that. But you can win and win at a level that's acceptable for the university. And also, you run your program. Seems like a very hands-off approach from the university and everyone above Huggins. Now, you've got to be a Hall of Famer. I think that certainly plays into it. He's back there, too, for a reason at his school. But I'm shaking my head on you're nearly 3 times the legal limit. You thought you were in Columbus when you were in Pittsburgh, and the officer asked you different ways, 10 different times, according to the report, where you were and how you thought you got there. And all of a sudden, you want to play the card that you didn't resign from the job that literally came shortly thereafter. I don't buy it. And it's an opportunity at a money grab, and that's the only way I can view it. There's got to be something in there where it's with or without cause, or resign or be fired, terminated, however you want to term it. And the people that are making money off this are the attorneys. And the attorney for West Virginia would certainly know the background for everything Huggins has done or maybe hasn't done behind the scenes that they've tried to either cover up or make excuses for in the past, and have a light sentence for a punishment instead of this where, they don't want him back. And I don't blame them.
What do you think happens? Speaking of, there's a new president at Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald is the guy that is the highest paid employee.
Yeah.
And that's a cluster as well, because the president gave him a 2-week suspension, non-paid, on a Friday news dump. And next thing you know, wait a second, I aired here. And the Kid News, the Daily Northwestern, is continuing to dig, and former players are talking. Let me ask you this. What ends up happening here? A month from now, what is happening with Northwestern?
Well, what happens at Northwestern is they are going to now CYA on their own policies, where they're no longer going to camp at a off-campus spot for their preseason practices. They're in all these different policies. They have some independent person in the locker room now, all that, whatever. But from Fitzgerald's point, I mean, all it takes is one player saying that Fitzgerald knew, or one former coach saying Fitzgerald knew, and he's done. And it's, you know, I view Fitzgerald a lot like Huggins in a way at Northwestern, being that, you know, he took the job in, 2006. He's their guy, and this would be the one way that he could screw all of that up based on the situation that he's in at Northwestern prior to this coming to light. But at 1-11, or whatever their record was a year ago, I mean, whatever was going on behind the scenes wasn't working. And as the coach, regardless of if you knew or you didn't know, you should know based on the relationship you have with your players and what they're talking about. And I'm surprised that it took this long to get out, if that the hazing culture was the way it was, especially in this day and age.
You think the media's jumped the gun here?
I don't know. Well, I don't know, because this is a story, Dan, we don't hear much about anymore. You know, the hazing, for instance, whenever I started in the NFL, the hazing was guys were getting taped up to the goalposts, you know, doing different things. That does not happen at all anymore. There's no there are rookies that barely carry in pads for players now. That culture has really dissipated, and the fact that it's back to light, I think, is the story. Especially, and it's fair or unfair if they've jumped the gun. I can't help but hear this story and think of the Big Ten and Penn State and how the conference views this as well, and that's why it's a story. If this, I mean, also it's a very high-paid coach that doesn't produce great results. So I also view it through that lens, and hey, you should have known. Every coach should. There's only a handful of coaches that could get away with saying they didn't know and they're going to cover it up or clean it up. And in this case, it's far too gone with the digging that's going to take place. Here's the other one real quick thing. The fact that the student newspaper in today's media is the one that has to dig this up. They're used to, speaking of eras gone by the wayside, the NCAA's never investigated anything. They've always let the media do it for them. And it was always Yahoo, right? Yahoo Sports would always have these digging reports. And now it's a student newspaper that's doing it based on a friend that someone has on campus that told this story. Crazy. And, you know, that's also unfortunate, because I think it's a story in that light too, because there's really no one that's doing any work other than reporting on what anyone could blog about or what they're handed from a coach or a university employee.
You know what I always said, and this goes back to your comment about Yahoo. If Dan Wetzel or Charles Robinson gives you a call, you got a real problem.
Yeah.
Because they when they got it going at Yahoo, it's just they're on it. They know. Like, don't lie to them.
It's like Keith Morrison. You don't want Keith Morrison at Dateline knocking on your front door. There's not good news. You didn't win Publishers Clearinghouse. You know, someone was killed or you're the suspect. There's one of the two. And I would say the same thing about those two guys, especially Wetzel.
You think you think he gets fired? You think he's done?
I think it certainly can be the case. I don't know. I'm like you. I want to wait and see other details come out of this. At minimum, though, yeah, he's got to be held responsible for not knowing. If in fact he didn't know, and I don't think there's a way that he couldn't know what was going on behind the scenes in his locker room with hazing and other things. Again, Dan, it's not good, and even if it happens just to one player, it's not good. And I would view it through Northwestern's got to cut it off while they can, based on the information that's out there, before others come forward. And if others come forward, then yeah, Fitzgerald's done, based on what we've seen in the past and what they're going to try to prevent in the future.
I heard this, and this goes to the Tennessee Titans, and you're the perfect guy to ask. I was reading something yesterday that Will Levis is getting outplayed by Malik Willis, yet Malik Willis is on the chopping block. Is that true? You hearing that?
Yeah, and I didn't go to any of the practices for minicamp or OTAs. Jumping the gun is where I would say this story really lives. we're not going to know until the preseason. Both of those guys are going to get a ton of reps in the preseason games, the 3, and in the joint practices. Will Levis is eventually going to outplay Malik Willis because I've seen Malik Willis play, and I've also seen Will Levis play, and the hype around both guys. There were times, even in the preseason last year, where Vrabel took Malik Willis out of a preseason game because he refused to throw the football and wanted to run with it, tuck and run. He got away with that in the NCAA, and he used his athletic ability to get the most out of his opportunity in the preseason for what he could do. Levis has got to let it rip. And if we're going to, I don't know what this is being judged on. Is this interceptions? Is this incomplete passes? Is this not knowing the offense? All of that's going to play itself out, and I suspect Levis is the backup quarterback to Tannehill week 1. Now, you can have the emergency quarterback this year, but you can only do that with a quarterback that's on your active roster. My guess is a lot of teams will carry 2 to begin the year and then add a 3rd for insurance purposes down the road. At least that would be my mindset going into how I would manipulate the roster. So we'll see if Willis gets the axe or not. But teams can carry 3 because you can designate one guy as the emergency quarterback, although in week 1 that shouldn't be a problem.
I have billed this the official start date of NFL football. I have. July 10th, really? We're close enough. Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I'm not going to worry about the summer league. Like, I don't care whether Victor Wembanyama scored 10 or 27. I don't care about any of it. I think it's time just to get serious about football right here is the way I'm looking at it. What do you think?
Next week, SEC Media Days are in town here in Nashville. Big 10, Big 12 will be holding theirs as well. ACC, everyone involved. Pac-12 is going to be interesting, just based on all the news there and all the teams. I can't wait for it. And the crank up, you're right, begins with the media going to the SEC and hearing the real guy in charge, Greg Sankey, and what he has to say about NIL, about the transfer portal, and about everything behind the scenes with where we're headed in college football. There are 2 commissioners, one in the SEC, one in the Big Ten, that really control the message and the whole tenor and tune of the mood of everybody that loves college football. That time of the year is right now in the month of July. And, I mean, what are we, 2.5 weeks away from the first training camp practice? So, yeah, it's upon us for sure. Then it's hurry up and wait. Yeah. I always have to tell myself it's still September that we're waiting on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't give a rat's about preseason games. I used to. I'd be like, all right, let's see which guy can make a play. I don't care. I don't. You learn, you grow, you learn. All right, brother, what you got on the show today? Coming up on Hot Mic.
Charlie Arnold's going to join us. She was at the Reuben white party, the all-white party with Brady and Kim K and all that. Yeah, so I'm eager to get her take on the behind-the-scenes aspect of that party. Plus, I've been off last week. I haven't seen Chad in quite a bit, so Withrow and I got to catch up on some of the big storylines. And you better believe we've got some takes on what Dana White said at UFC 290, as well as, of course, Huggins and Fitzgerald. We've got it rocking and rolling here at 6th and Peabody starting at 3 o'clock Eastern.
All right, last thing before I let you go. You mentioned Tom Brady. Here's what I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
There's something weird or freaky about Tom Brady. He leaves a woman when she's pregnant. He goes to Giselle. However that gets screwed up. Why would you want to invite crazy into your life by even looking at a Kardashian? I'd be like this if I was at a Kardashian. I'd just be like this. You know what I mean?
What is it, Medusa or whatever? Yeah, it's.
Yes.
Kim looked at him. Let's say that. I think it's all about Tom.
All right.
No. This is about Kim wanting to be seen with someone. Again, this is just me reading into it. Tom is willing and able, right? And Kardashian gets her photo and gets her name out there for being famous for doing really nothing.
Yeah.
This is Brady is at least famous for doing something as the GOAT. Kim Kardashian, I mean, that was her whole claim to fame. She was famous for doing nothing, and in this case, she's at the front of the line yet again, based on photos of her being at this party and the rumors that are behind the scenes about her and Tom Brady. Brady, I think it's also funny. It's like, Kardashian and Brady are together. They're with multiple people right now. Like I would put the bank on that. So this is par for the course, probably for both.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Hey, great backdrop. I love the charity aspect of what you're doing, and keep up the great work, man. It looks like Augusta back there. So cheers to you, and open that bottle. Crank it up.
Cheers to all of us here at OutKick. We just keep kicking ass, baby. That's what we do. OutKick, hot mic, 3 to 6 Eastern, 2 to 5 Central. That's right. I got advice for Tom Brady. Tom Brady, don't invite crazy into your home. Like, don't do it. You don't need it. Like, look, I get it. If you're some guy, maybe like me, and you want your show to blow up, you know, go take a picture with Kim Kardashian, kiss her on the cheek, do something. But Tom Brady, you don't need it. Why would you invite crazy into your home? Don't do it. I want a list. I want a list of every single person that has been involved with any one of these Kardashians and how has it gone for them. You know what I mean? I mean, let me know. I'm here. If somebody, I'm going to go on the YouTube chat, and I think Jennifer, Otter Creek, and the rest will all agree with me. Van Pastor, man, don't invite it. It's like, don't go into a strip joint because you're inviting that to attach you. I've always felt that. Don't let porn get in because it attaches. I told you the story about being in East Stroudsburg with Lee. And Lee, I'm like, I don't know, this place looks like it's got some weird stuff in it. And then we looked, and she's like, we're not going in there. That's weird sex stuff. Yeah, I'm just saying. Tom Brady, there's got to be something wrong with Tom Brady. There's just got to be. I'm serious. There has to be. Because you don't leave that Moynihan woman when she's pregnant to go with Giselle, who you guys think is the most beautiful woman in the world. I'm not so sure. I don't get it. The money makes her prettier. Whatever. And then, however that doesn't go, and now you're looking at a Kardashian? Don't invite it. There you go. Oh my God, she looks like a Greek god. Can you imagine what that thing looks like without 16 hairdressers, 22 publicists, and whatever? Don't do it. Courtney's my favorite too. Is that you, Ryan? Who's doing that? That's my favorite too. And Kendall's like a little girl. Like, what are you doing? No, but they're all crazy. Did it work for Tristan Thompson? When last seen, Lamar Odom was like beating it in a cat house in Vegas with fake Viagra. I mean, that Scott Disick couldn't have been a bigger jerk. I mean, who has it worked out for? Nobody. Tom Brady, you don't need it. Go the Peyton Manning route. Just find a woman you love. Do yourself a bigger favor. I'll tell you what, this is advice I gave to somebody yesterday. Here's the deal. Find a woman that's an athlete. Yeah. Find a woman that's an athlete, and you'll live happily ever after. You've tried stars, you've tried supermodels, now you're going with nuts. Don't date nuts. Look, remember this, guys that watched my show in Indy, when Ricky Fowler was hot, and then there was I forget who he was dating, but she was some influencer crazy woman. And I said on the show, this is going to end very, very badly for Ricky Fowler. Oh, that's crap. How'd it go? All of a sudden, what did Ricky Fowler do? He found a human being. He no longer is dating some crazy woman that's trying to get her ass on TV. I was wrong. I'll tell you this. I was wrong about Koepka. I thought that woman that Koepka was married to was a just clout-chasing, ridiculous idiot. I still do, but Koepka's overcome it. So good for Koepka. But, man, oh man, oh man. How many plastic surgeries? Oh, I see 2. Sometimes I just crack myself up. No, I'm serious. I mean, I try to help. And I'm pretty good at this. Like the whole cut your hair when you're not good enough, make yourself serious about your job, work like crazy. That's pretty smart stuff. Reggie Wayne, get serious about your job. Your wide receiver group stinks and you're out there worrying about, hey guys, I made a 12-hour trip and I didn't listen to one song. Hey guys, are you going to switch over from Twitter? Dude, you're a coach, not a player. Dude, I got to be on Twitter because, frankly, well, it drives the show. Jeez, you guys are giving me a headache. Every little guy. All right, here's a little clip we got. It's a special promo. Tunnels, listen to this. Tunnels for Towers, Tunnel to Towers has been at the forefront of supporting our American heroes, wounded warriors. That's right. That's right. Tommy's all over this and their families. They paid off over 30 mortgages. I want you to think about that. For the families of fallen first responders this past Independent Day. 30 mortgages, first responders, PIF, paid in full. The chairman and CEO, Frank Seiler, joined Tommy on Tommy Lauren is Fearless. Let's take a little look here on how that bad boy went.
You do so much for our veterans, for their families. And I think the family aspect of this is what I find most important to highlight, because we see the stories of our warriors and we hear about our fallen warriors, but we sometimes forget about the families that they leave behind. And when the news cameras go away and the headlines fade, those families are still left with a great burden.
Did you put the
and
stuff
that's why
on
I
the
love
bottom?
what you guys are doing. Tell me about what you just recently paid off this 4th of July and what you're doing, especially here in Tennessee.
And so every 4th of July, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, we like to try to wake up
Are we going to break
America
after this?
to let them know there's a big sacrifice that's going on for them. And how we do that is by paying off these mortgages or delivering these smart homes. And as you said, that we did 31 mortgage-free homes for Gold Star widows and their kids left behind and fallen first responders. And a lot of those first responders served their country first and then became first responders. But we should never forget the sacrifice that's made every day. And that is our first mission at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, is to make sure that we don't forget. Look, my brother was a New York City firefighter who gave his life up on 9/11. He ran through the tunnel to the towers with 60-pound gear on his back. We just wanted to honor him as a family. And our first mission was not to forget what he did and what all first responders did, and some everyday people that day had so many acts of heroism. It starts from there, but then we went to war, and we've had over 7,000 men and women who fought the global war on terror that has given their lives and left these families. You mentioned before, it's when somebody serves, it's not just the person who serves, it's the whole family that serves. And we want to make sure that America doesn't forget. We can't make this promise or deliver all these houses. We depend on $11 a month. Go to T2T.org, $11 a month. That's how we get it done.
I had an incident very similar. So I go to Boston, and I don't remember how many starts in. I want to say this is May sometime. And Carlos Delgado's at the plate, and we're winning 4-0 or something. And I give up. He hits a pop-up down the left field line, and Manny jogs in from left. He's jogging, and the ball drops in fair and bounces out for a double. And there's no doubt in my mind he could have caught the ball in his back pocket if he'd been running. So at the end of the inning, I come in, and I set my glove down, and I immediately turn left, and I'm going to head to the end of the dugout and where he's at. And Jason Varitek stops me like with hand on my chest. He's like, "You can't." I'm like, "What do you mean I can't?" He's like, "Not here, not now." I'm like, I'm dropping F-bombs. I'm like, and he's like, I know. We'll deal with it, but just don't do it now. And I was like, okay, trusting him. And it was the right thing to do. It wasn't. I ended up blowing the game, by the way. We lost. We had like a 7-4-1 lead. I blew the game in the 8th inning. But I let that bother me big time for the rest of the game. And I'd seen that happen. The times that Manny and I got into a little bit were all around that effort. I had a problem with anybody and effort. But that wouldn't have been the right time to do it. And I would have done it inappropriately had he let me go, which is what ended up being a good thing. But that happens a lot. Not a lot. It happens often, I guess is how I should say, in the big leagues.
Hey, you just saw a clip of the tunnels. I'm gonna screw that up because I was talking on the somebody, but tunnels to towers is what Tommy is doing, and it's going to be awesome. You can see it tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time on the OutKick Network. You're going to see more of these kind of things coming out as we continue to dominate here at OutKick. So Tunnels to Tower tomorrow, supporting the wounded and fallen soldiers. This Independence Day, 30 mortgages were paid off. So get in front of the TV and take a look. Johnny Damon joins us. I got to tell you, I loved watching Johnny Damon play. I'm not going to lie. Johnny Damon was cool. Like, really cool. Like, when Johnny Damon got up, even his name is cool. Everybody just kind of looked. You know, you're kind of the Mark Wahlberg of, like, baseball, in my opinion.
Well, that's a great compliment because every movie Mark Wahlberg does is absolutely amazing. And I tried to go out there and I always try to bring my A game every single game, always hustle. I mean, that's the one thing you can control out there. And because of my friendship with the fans and stopping and signing autographs, I have fans to this day that are very excited to see me, whether I'm hanging out here in Orlando, Florida, or vacationing out in Vegas or up in the New York, Boston area. So it's a great feeling to leave leave a lot of fans with joy that I brought them over the years.
Johnny, I got to ask you, man. You are a legend in Boston. 2 home runs, grand slam, the whole deal. I mean, and yet you go to the Yankees. Now I got to ask, how does that happen? How weird is it? Like, my son played basketball at Michigan, and he played a 5th year at Ohio State. You know, bitter rival. He's the only guy ever to do that. And he's like, man, I walked in that locker room. I thought I was going to get my ass beat, being from Michigan. Like, how was it to do that?
Well, it was very hard. I mean, I never wanted to leave Boston. I was a fan favorite. And unfortunately, the business side of it comes out there. You know, they have a young center fielder coming up named Jacoby Ellsbury. And, you know, center fielders are the ones who normally tend to move. So New York needed a leadoff hitter and a center fielder, and I respected those guys throughout the years, how they played the game, how they've been champions. And, you know, I was the 3rd Red Sox that went over to the Yankees, you know, behind Mark Bellhorn and Mike Myers, and then we added a couple more. But I know I was a big signing for the Yankees, and like I said, it was hard. But at the end of the day, I believe both teams ended up benefiting. And also, I got to spend 6 more weeks at home for spring training for the next 4 years. So that was really good. Just drove back and forth to Tampa from Orlando. And it worked out. And I'm glad that we spent a lot of money in 2009 because that move to New York would not have been great for me unless there was a championship. Because I know in 2006, the Yankees came in first place in the American League East, and the Red Sox finished in 4th. And that was kind of like me showing them, hey, I was that important to you. And then the following year, they spent a lot of money. They won the World Series, and I'm going, oh, man, this is not good.
You know, it's funny, and I'm glad you admitted something, because nobody ever wants to admit that when you leave a team and you go somewhere else, it's not like you're exactly rooting for that team. I coached a long time, and when I left Bowling Green, I'm like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to see them get in the NCAA tournament. I'm not saying now I don't give a rat's, but immediately after, you're like, yeah, screw you guys. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah, I felt the same way. And but now it really doesn't matter to me. I want to see great baseball, and it seems like there's a very exciting season going on with just great players, from Ohtani to Acuna to, you know, you name it. I mean, there's so much good baseball going on, so much great talent. And the Major League Draft was last night, and Dylan Cruz is from the Central Florida area, so I wasn't thrilled that my Florida Gators lost, but, you know, I am a big fan of LSU as well. And, you know, he went there, won the national championship, won the Golden Spikes, and we knew his father from the Amway Arena days. So that's very cool to see.
Well, let's talk about baseball. You know, I had a couple guys I was talking to, Danny Plesac and a couple others, and they're like, you know, this is the first time that time clock has impacted. You were a stolen base guy. You know, you could get a pretty damn good jump knowing that the pitch clock is running down, right? That's influencing the game, is it not?
Oh, it sure is. And now that they cannot do the third to first pickoff move, I mean, that would have probably added another 150 stolen bases for me, because you never wanted to get caught with that step to third and a step back and throw to first. So I'm glad stolen bases are up. They are a very important part of the game, especially when you're going up against aces, the ones and twos, especially in the postseason. You need to learn how to win those close games. And fortunately for me, I was able to win with my legs and also win with my bat. So, but I'm glad these guys are stealing some bases. I'm glad there's a time clock, but for the most part, most of us really want a quick game. And, you know, the Savannah Bananas are doing a great job. They have the 2-hour game limit. If they're in the third inning, the game's over. If they're in the ninth inning, you know, it's been an exciting couple months for me going and hanging out and playing some fun baseball. And I know I'm not good anymore, but it's good to get up there and see the fans enjoying that kind of baseball.
Yeah. You know, Johnny, you are unabashed, man. You've tweeted out about Donald Trump. It's amazing to me, the backlash. Now that I started with OutKick, I left ESPN a couple years ago doing college basketball. Now at OutKick, political people are nasty, man. I know Yankees, Red Sox are nasty. I was 17 years, Indiana against Purdue in basketball. That was nasty. But political folks, man, they're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I should be able to say happy birthday to my friend. You know, I've known him for 18 years, and, you know, he was a great president for us, and I'm hoping he gets back in because his policies are right on. And if his policies weren't right on, I want to vote for him. But, you know, when I like safety, I like school choices, I like the fact that we're not caught like messing up again, whether it's the baby formula incident or whether it's Afghanistan or whether it's a Chinese balloon. I mean, it's nonstop. It's continuous. And we, for some reason, are okay for putting people in the office who are qualified. I mean, skin color, I get it. Okay. If you want to play favors, but let's put someone qualified. I mean, there's so many qualified people out there, and I wasn't expected to get a pat on the back if somebody was better than me and advance. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know Pete Buttigieg did Biden a favor by dropping out of the presidential race. Well, guess what? He's transportation secretary. I think people like him, but unfortunately, I don't think he's qualified for the job. As you can see, what's going on. We made all these pilots and flight attendants get the vaccine shot, so a lot of people took early retirement. I mean, on and on and on. So we have a big problem here. And
hey, Ryan, I lost Johnny. We lost him. All right. We'll try to get Johnny back. We lost him, but we got him? Johnny, you there?
Froze. Sorry about that.
Okay, now I can hear you. You got us?
Okay.
All right, we're going to have to figure this out. But I love what he's saying, right? I mean, look, Buttigieg is everybody's guy. He was a bad mayor here in the great state of Indiana, but you know what? He's gay, he's married, he's military, he's well-spoken, he drops out, they give him a job, and I don't think that's been the best thing for our country. Look, I'm not going to say everything's his fault, but you are responsible. Like, why do we hold, I've always wondered about this, why do we hold coaches like Fitzgerald right now is going through all this, and he should, but why do we hold coaches to a higher standard about you should know, you should this, you got to have an entire control over everything, but we don't do the same damn thing with our government officials. Explain that to me, Spanky. I'll hang up and listen. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm just asking why do we not do that, Johnny?
I really do not know. And I felt like I had an opportunity to play baseball because I stayed out of trouble. I got good grades. If I didn't get good grades, my parents would not allow me to play. And if I didn't get good grades and didn't commit myself, I would never have gotten a scholarship to the University of Florida, which, I turned down because I got drafted very high and took that opportunity. But equal opportunities should not happen if someone's not committed to doing the work and somebody else is. I mean, you can go through every sport. So the last Supreme Court ruling, I'm kind of lost with what people are complaining about. I really think qualified people should get positions, and I understand the world we're living in, and there's so many qualified minorities out there, but I feel like there's so many more qualified than what we are putting into our government. I mean, there's so much more qualified people, and we are not looking at them, and we're just saying, oh, because you have a degree from this place and you check all the right boxes, just make sure you check the qualified box, and I'll be cool with it.
If Kamala Harris is the most qualified person in the country to be a vice president, I have a full head of hair.
Yeah. I don't understand that. I mean, she was close to last place when she was running. And I mean, I just want to see people do their jobs. I mean, if she's going to have that role, go down to the border and try to give solutions. But unfortunately, the people who know the solutions are the people who are working down there. So we should ask them what we should do. And with everything, we have media saying what's right and wrong with transgender surgeries. And, if someone wants to get it, that's fine. Just let everybody know what could happen. There's a lot of pills you're going to have to take for the rest of your life. There's this and that. And we have politicians talking about it. And why don't we have the people who have gotten the surgeries, who have given the surgeries, why don't we listen to them about what's good and what's bad about it? And yeah, we're listening to too much media, too much politicians, and we need to listen to the people who are on the ground trying to do the best for the people.
Last thing, and I'll let you go. Transgender, great, wonderful, do your thing, but keep this crap away from our kids. And I'm not talking about transgender. Yeah, I am. I mean, we don't need to have kids making these decisions. And I think that parents that are taking their kids at a young age and basically mutilating them, I think it was Elon Musk said they should go to prison for life. And I'm kind of on board with that.
Yeah, well, I think what we failed to do was teach people. I know the abortion ruling was a big thing last year. Well, teach people how not to get an abortion, whether it's abstinence, putting the condom on, taking the pill, something. I mean, abortions aren't something to brag about, and I get it. It needs to happen at times, but just teach people. We're not teaching people. We're just telling people what's right and what's wrong. And all the people protesting about the abortion stuff is, they weren't aborted, and so they have a voice. So you got to think about these, I have 8 kids. I love them all, and could not imagine life without them. And so we have a great family, and I'm not totally against it, but I'm saying let's educate people on everything that's out there, and let's get our country smart again. I mean, that's we are living in a box, and it does need to change, and hopefully the 2024 election does that.
Hey, Johnny, last thing before I let you go. You mentioned your friendship with Donald Trump. You've met him, you've hung with him. What's he like? What's your sense?
The best. He is the best to be around. Funny. He's always 3 steps ahead of everybody. When he was running our country, he he knew what to do. I mean, there weren't these possible wars getting ready to break out. The Ukraine thing, I really believe, never would have happened. You know, Donald Trump has a special gift to communicate with people and make sure the deal gets done and everybody's happy at the end of the day. And that's why he's a successful businessman. His family is very successful, and you know, it's going to be interesting. You know, there's going to be a lot of media hatred towards him that continues, and you know, he's strong. He can bounce back, and it's, you know, us baseball players, we were very tough skinned as well. I mean, you should hear all the stuff we got yelled at over the years, and guess what? We picked ourselves up, we bounced back, and we kept on fighting for what we wanted, and that was a championship. And hopefully Donald Trump can deliver another championship for our great country.
Man, I hope so, because I got to tell you, I'm watching that clown even try to speak or walk upstairs or walk across the stage, and I just think, like, how the hell are we in this situation as a country when that's the best we got right there, that and Kamala Harris? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm still shocked, but you know, we're dealing with it, and hopefully we won't have to deal with it too much longer.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for coming on, Johnny. Great stuff.
Take care now. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Johnny Damon, nice enough to join us. Like the Red Sox to the Yankees, I think it's pretty cool. Again, who am I to say? My son went from from Michigan to Ohio State. I mean, what the hell? I mean, that ain't easy, guys. That ain't easy walking into, all of a sudden, you're Johnny freaking Damon and you're banging out home runs and you're breaking a freaking, you know what, Curse of the Bambino streak. And next thing you know, you're going across, 100 miles away, and you're in New York and you're with the Yankees. You're not with the freaking Mets or anything, with your damn Yankees. I love it, man. Should Sean Black stand by the flagpole in the background so we can see if he's really here? Absolutely. If you don't know, we are at GCI, Golf Club of Indiana. Guys are out there having some swings. I got some guys in their shirts. The lovely Lee Ross is here. My buddy BBB, we call him Big Balls Billy. The all-time leading home run leader at the time of Indiana University is here. Max Bielfeldt, former IU player, is going to be here. The great Teddy Karras is going to be here, head coach at Marion. My ear is killing me. I don't bill it as a celebrity event because I don't want it. I don't want to hang out. I want real people playing golf, raising money for kids. If you'd like to donate, go to dandakich.com. And I got to tell you, I just donated for a prize pack. Mike Vrabel gave me 4 tickets to the Colts at the Titans, then 4 field passes for the Colts at the Titans on the field pregame. I've never been on a field of an NFL game, so I bid on it myself. I'm like, screw this. So if you want to bid on stuff, go to dandakich.com. Just scroll. You'll see the golf outing. You'll see how to donate. I've got all kind of things. Colts fans, I don't know why you wouldn't bid on this. You got 2 tickets to a home game with an experience with Joe Wright in the pregame show and the halftime show and all that kind of stuff. 4 gold passes. I bid on this with my boy KC, Kevin Custer. 4 gold box seats and hang out with Benetti to a White Sox game. I don't want anybody to bid on that because I want to get those for myself. Serious business, I do. So don't go bid on them. Let's see, where's Sean Black? I'm looking, I don't see him. Over my shoulder. The hell is he? Where is he? Oh, there he is, gray shirt back there, yeah. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can get my fat ass out of the way. Hold on. There he is, gray shirt, talking to the guy in the white hat. That's what we do on this show, see? We're very personal. Hey, Sean, do some jumping jacks. Why doesn't he have our show on in his ear? Hold on. Hang on. It's locked. Hang on. Other way. Never mind. Screw it. I can't do it. You think Scott Van Pelt would do that? Oh, hell no. All right. Let's recap the top story of the day, which is Bob Huggins. My boy Huggy Bear wants to go back to West Virginia. He's saying, I didn't retire. I didn't resign. My wife sent a text message. West Virginia is basically saying, Huggy, we love you. Huggy, you're done. That's it. You're done. That's it. And I told you way back that this was happening. I didn't tell you this exact thing was happening, but I told you no adult male would take this job of, look, here's the deal. No adult male of any substance as a football or basketball coach would take the job. Why? Because, as I told you, I heard this from every guy that I knew. His family, Huggins' family, is in the background, trying desperately to get him back in the chair. The university will not accept Mr. Huggins' revocation of his resignation, nor will it reinstate him as head coach of men's basketball. That's like the easiest thing to do. That's the easiest thing. The university has said they're confused by the backtrap from Huggins because no matter whose device the message was sent from, Huggins clearly communicated his resignation, and the athletic director went on to say, we accept your resignation and we wish you the best in retirement. We appreciate your many years of dedication to WVU. Huggins, of course, says there's no resignation letter and wants his job back, and you know, he is going to try to sue. The question now becomes whether or not West Virginia will reinstate him or it will go to court. That's not the question. That's from a CBS article, CBS News. That's not the question. They are not reinstating him. There's no chance they reinstate him. Zero, zip, nada. What they're going to do is say, you want to go to court? Let's go to court. That's what they're going to say. They're getting their lawyers. Ice Miller here in Indianapolis was their law firm when I dealt with West Virginia. I'm sure they will get Ice Miller or some big law firm and say, Huggy, let's go. If that's what Huggins wants to do. Now, if I'm Huggins, here's what I do. I'm making a ton of cash. I should have a ton of cash. I am going to 60-day rehab. I am going to go on an apology tour, and I want to get back into coaching. Somebody will hire him. Look, you are not going to be able to get hired as Bob Huggins anywhere unless you do a rehab stint. He needs to come out of the rehab stint looking like a human being, not a big fat walrus, angry old coach. He needs to look like this. He needs to look slim and healthy and vibrant and a sexual animal. That's what he needs to look like. Not saying I am, just saying that's what I look like. I'm just saying. In Pat Fitzgerald's case, he needs to just shut up. Yeah, there's nothing he can say right now. He can say, I didn't know. People are going to say you should have known at Northwestern. He can say we didn't do it. There's already an independent group hired by Northwestern to say you did. You can say you apologize. That's admitting guilt. There's nothing Pat Fitzgerald can say right now. Now, if he's able to keep his job, if they do some other type punishment, whatever that is, then he can come back and say, I'm going to do better. But here's an interesting thing. I've never heard this before. And I wanted to wait until I confirmed it, and I did. It's in different articles, but I confirmed it with a different guy, a guy that knows Northwestern. One of the stipulations, now I want you to think about this, in your own athletic days, whatever they were, high school, grade school, college, maybe some of you were pros, just think about this. So they were going to hire, Northwestern is going to hire, an independent person or group to monitor the locker room at Northwestern. Now, I got to tell you, think of all the money that Northwestern is paying football coaches. I'm not just talking about Fitzpatrick or Fitzgerald, whatever the hell his name is. I'm not talking about him. Well, he's a part of it. How about the coordinators making millions? How about the D-line coach? How about all the different guys that you see on a sideline? And then check out all the experience that all these guys have. One thing you can count on in football, if you look at football coaches' resumes, is it's long. Started here, went to here, became this, went here, boop, 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 boop. Okay, now I'm here. And I don't care where here is, it's just the way it is. So look at all that experience. And Northwestern, for all the money they're paying their coaches, for all the money they're paying support staff, for all the experience that these guys have, including a head coach that got hired in 2006, they don't trust them to monitor one locker room. I would fire him because of that. I would fire him because of a lack of trust. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. That's what I would do. Look, I don't trust you to run our program. You're a great guy. We don't owe you anything. You stayed, we paid. But we don't trust you. It's like a player. Why doesn't my son play? Your son doesn't play because I, as the head coach, don't trust him to play. So if you're going to do this, if you're going to put an independent person in the locker room to monitor the goings on, you don't trust your staff. And here's the other problem. If you get rid of Fitzgerald and you decide it's a good idea to keep that independent person in the locker room, I'm not sure too many big-time coaches will go for it. Some interim guy will. You can hire the guy from Grand Valley State. You can do whatever you'd like. But I'm talking about, do you want, what do you want, who do you want? I'm not going there if they say, look, one of the problems with Iowa basketball, you couldn't hire your own staff totally. You had to keep some guy named Jerry Strom on your staff. Hell, I need some guy that's a holdover from like 8 staffs, all of whom got fired. I don't want that. I'm telling you, that's a big deal. I don't trust you. I can't hire you. I don't trust you. I won't play you. I don't trust you. I can't marry you. I don't trust you. I'm done with you. Simple. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest problem at Northwestern right now. You've already said publicly this happened. Do you trust? And the answer is absolutely not. And that ain't Northwestern's fault. That's not Northwestern's fault. That's the players and the coaches of Northwestern football. All right, we're going to be right back. I got a ton to get to. I thank all of you for being here. We, ladies and gentlemen, are rolling on a Monday. Doesn't this look patriotic? We are, well, let's call it Augusta North, Golf Club of Indiana. You want a great golf experience? It's right here. We'll be right back.
To date, we, and yes, I mean we, the American people, have sent a whopping $113 billion to protect and defend Ukraine. Yes, all the while leaving our own border like an open, oozing, and pussing sore of national insecurity. But in case you thought the endless flow of dollars to Ukraine, more accurately Zelensky, was drying up anytime soon, well, no. That tracksuit-wearing con artist still has a blank check and more money is on the way. Surprise! Christmas has come early for Zelensky now that the Pentagon identified a bookkeeping error that will free up even more money for Ukraine funding. Apparently, the Pentagon overestimated the value of the weapons it has sent to Ukraine by $6.2 billion over the past 2 years, resulting in a surplus that will be used for future security packages. Oh, goody! As if the $113 billion wasn't enough, now Ukraine will have more to work with in this never-ending war they cannot and will not win without endless and continual propping up by you and me, the American taxpayer. Now, don't get me wrong, I support the Ukrainian cause and the Ukrainian people. But let's take off the rose-colored and politically correct glasses here and be honest. This is unsustainable. And it's not just the war that's going to cost us, it's the aftermath that's going to cost us too. The World Bank, Ukrainian government, the European Commission, and the UN estimate reconstruction and recovery of Ukraine will cost about $411 billion after 1 year of war. Damn, I don't know about y'all, but that's a little rich for my blood. We've got homeless veterans on our street corners that are supposed to fend for themselves, but we've got the cash to defend Ukraine in perpetuity? At some point, enough is enough. These two nations should be coming to the bargaining table and working out a diplomatic solution, but that'll never happen so long as we keep funneling money into Zelensky's ego.
welcome back. That's my boy right there. Director of Golf, Jeff Rubenstein, who does an unbelievable job here at GCI. It is the 13th annual Tom Dakich Memorial Golf Outing. Sponsored by our friends at Horseshoe Indianapolis. I was over there for the Indiana Derby on Saturday, and it was awesome. Presented by Gemco, which is actually my brother's construction company. And we got a ton of great sponsors, and we're raising a lot of money, and the money goes to kids getting bikes. It's called Dakich Cycles for the City. Dakich Cycles for the City was started by my wife and I, seeing 3 kids walking down the street. 2 of them were on bikes, 1 of them was walking, so forgive me for not describing it right. Long story short, conversation between my wife and I ensued about the freedom of bicycles. Next thing you know, we started on my radio show here in Indy, finding kids to give bikes to. It blossomed. And we did not let COVID deter us. We partnered with a group called the Indiana Sports Corporation. That corporation is the group that brings the Super Bowl to Indy, the Final Fours, regionals, all kind of stuff. And it has taken off. I think we are going to be in a position, ladies and gentlemen, to, I think, give away over 1,000 bikes by the time we are done here. And I am very proud of it. Speaking of proud, you know, Greg Popovich is from the same town as me. We're both from Maryville, Indiana. I'm not one of those guys that acts like Maryville, Indiana is this really tough place. It's a great place, fantastic place to grow up. It is literally, my address was a Gary address. Maryville wanted our little side of the town, the northern part of, the southern part of Gary, northern part of Maryville, and our address changed, and I grew up in Maryville. And Maryville is where Popovich grew up, and he has always been a guy, Greg Popovich, that has been outspoken about our country. He's a guy that everybody points to, hey, look, here's a guy that, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. He decided a long time ago, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go be an NBA coach. He has become a Hall of Fame coach. He's a legend, blah, 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 blah. But he hadn't been very good, if you want to know the truth, without Ginobili, without Duncan, and without Robinson. In fact, he's under 500 since those guys left about 5 years ago. So long story short, Popovich, though, decides, well, you know what? At 74, I'm going to rip our country, call old white men racist, and he's tired of them, even though this is a 74-year-old old white guy. But hey, that's okay, because it plays with players. It plays with his base. People always say, you got to play to your base. Well, his base is NBA players, and they love hearing old white guy. They love old white guy hate until when? Well, until it comes to payday, when old white guy signs their checks. But Popovich has always taken advantage of capitalism. He gets the richest contract ever for an NBA coach. It's $80 million. Yeah, man, he served 5 years. He recruited a kid named Bob Djokovic to Air Force from Maryville or Gary. All right, great. Good for Popovich. But he went on, and I'll go through it here, a pregame press conference, go on a 10-minute rant about gun control. Of course, not talking about the mental health of the people behind the guns. He said celebrating Columbus Day is akin to celebrating Hitler. Good for him. He refers to the United States as a racist country, and despite being 74 years old, white guy, he hates 70-year-old white men. Good for Pop. Next wine dinner on you. Popovich is living the good life. Popovich is living the life that says $1,500 bottles of wine, $5,000 dinners. Good for him. You never hear a positive word out of Popovich relative to our country because he knows everything. Because his 5 years, and everybody says how patriotic, a gold medal winning coach. Look, guys, no offense, but I could win a gold medal with these NBA players 9 out of 10 times. I just couldn't. Look at Lee Ross bringing donuts and looking spectacular today. Say hello, Lee.
Hello. Wow, that's
Get in
a great
here.
view.
Is this a great view? Look, come on in here. Looky here.
That's a great view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patriotic. Give me a kiss.
We need.
Mwah. Nobody wants to see old people kiss.
Oh, sorry, guys.
But that's all right. You just turned me on, woman. Yeah, that's gross. Anyway, so good for Popovich. He has to be a left-wing crazy person, and he literally takes advantage of capitalism, and we're proud of him from Maryville. Actually, if you ask most people in Maryville that knew him, they're like, yeah, good guy. Never comes back because, well, you know how it is. It's not I don't know the right word. It's not in his, in his base to come back to Maryville. I went to Maryville every year, 24 years, ran a basketball camp there. I don't think Popovich has ever ran a basketball camp in his town, so I don't really respect him. Hey, look, rip on us all you want. Rip on everybody. Rip on the United States all you like. It's your thing. We get it. But I don't have to respect you. I don't have to respect you at all. All right, couple of things that I got to get to, and I don't want to screw this up. This is just weird. All right? This is just very weird. I don't know what live is. I know what live golf is, but I don't know what it is. I'm not sitting there going, hey, look, I understand all these teams, but Brooks Koepka does, and apparently there's a golfer named Matt Wolff. And I got to tell you, he ain't happy. He's going after his own teammate, and you know what? That's what a leader's supposed to do. Well, you shouldn't do it public, man. Shut up. Shut up. You know what I mean? Tour Golf Pro, I like Brooks Koepka a lot. He's one of my favorite players. He's never been afraid to voice opinion, but statements like this about Matt Wolff isn't right. If he has an issue with him, go to him in private. I guarantee you he has. He basically said, I've basically given up on him. Lots of talent, but I mean, it's talent waste. Go to him in private. There's no need to voice your opinion to the media. Really? I would bet you Brooks Koepka has gone to him many times. I would bet you Brooks Koepka has tried really hard before going to the media. I don't care. Oh, you shouldn't do it. The hell you shouldn't. I'd suspend the guy and I'd be like, yeah, he was an idiot. Now, what do you want me to do? He wouldn't go to class, so I'm suspending him. What's the problem? I wanted to embarrass a guy. Because sometimes in embarrassing a guy, guess what? The guy wakes up. You know, coaching and being a leader and being a captain isn't all sunshine and balloons. Screw that. Sometimes you got to whoop some ass. Sometimes you got to get after people. Sometimes you got to call it like it is, and you got to straighten people out, even if it's public and even if it hurts. Who cares? Who really cares? Good for Koepka. Good for Koepka, and anybody whining about it just exposes themselves as having absolutely zero understanding about what a leader is. People act like everything's in a bubble. Oh my God, I can't believe he said something. Hey, I got something for you that I think most people are going to celebrate. I saw this morning, and I don't know that it's on our rundown. But I don't know if you saw this. Larry Nassar was stabbed multiple times in prison. You remember Larry Nassar? I'll give the Indianapolis Star credit. When the Indianapolis Star was a reputable paper, and they had Maria Kwiatkowski, Tim Evans, and Mark Alicia, they broke this story. They broke this story about U.S. gymnastics and Larry Nassar. Why did they break the story? Because the Michigan State media is so in pocket with Michigan State that no athletes would go to the Michigan State media. It's the same thing that happened in Indiana with Bob Knight. None of us athletes were even thought about going to Bob Hamill. Bob Hamill was a local writer. He was totally in pocket for Bob Knight. So these folks came to Maria Kwiatkowski, Tim Evans, and Mark Alicia back when the Indy Star was actually having reporters. And these folks broke a story, and Larry Nassar was at the center of it. Larry Nassar was convicted of sexually abusing gymnastics for years. Well, apparently he got in a hassle. The attack happened at the United States Penitentiary Coleman in Florida. He's in stable condition. One of the people said Nassar had been stabbed in the back and in the chest. Nobody's supposed to talk about it, but the word on the street, he was sentenced, Nassar was, in 2017 to 60 years in prison on child pornography. He was sentenced to additional 40 to 175 years in prison for all the crap that he did. Well, I got to tell you. So Nassar now is in the hospital. Approximately 2:35, an inmate was assaulted at the U.S. Penitentiary, Coleman, Somerville. Responding staff immediately initiated life-saving measures. Staff requested EMS. Life-saving efforts continued. The inmate was transferred by EMS to the local hospital for further treatment. So Nassar got his ass whooped in prison, and everybody will tell you that Nassar and all of these guys that are predators are in the levels. Everything has levels, right? This isn't Kramer, but everything has levels in prison. Everything has an order. Everything has a structure. Everything has, and the worst of the worst are pedophiles. And I got to believe Nassar, being very famous, being a pedophile, he has caught the brunt of many, many things from many, many prisoners, both orally, anally, and apparently now with a stab. And you know what? It's hard to feel sorry. No, seriously, it's hard to feel sorry. I want to feel sorry for the guy. You want to feel sorry for anybody and say, man, you shouldn't have to go through that. You're doing your time. But you know what? That's the way the world works. Don't care. No, I just don't. But anyway, so that's the story on Nassar, and we'll keep you updated. I would assume, based on the sound of what I just read, that he probably will live, at least it sounds like, but who knows? I don't know. So that story may get drug up again. All right, I'm going stock up, stock down. Bump-a-da-bum, bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bum, bump-a-da-bum, bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bump. Stock up, ladies and gentlemen. You ready? Exciting NBA Summer League games. Now, I got to tell you, I'm friends with some of the people at ESPN, and they always text me, what do you think of our broadcast? And I got to say, horrible. Awful. Doris Burke, really? That's what we're listening to? No, awful. I want to be entertained in the Summer League. I want to be entertained, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to hear, well, you know, everybody's great, and yeah, it's really good. No, I don't want to hear it. I want to entertain me, and let's go. Let's do it. Tunnel to Towers. We've talked about it tomorrow, 8 o'clock, or tonight, I'm sorry, 8 o'clock, right here on OutKick. Tommy Lauren is going to isolate and encourage and celebrate these folks that give and paid over 30 mortgages to our military and their families. Paid off their mortgages. That's what should happen. Yeah, I want to hear about all this other crap, reparations. No. You want to pay reparations? Pay it to the military. You want to help somebody? Help our military. You know, it was amazing. Remember when we were trying to find out who slaves are? Everybody's a slave. Oh, they were slave owners. Everybody was a slave owner until what? Until we all found out that Biden and Kamala Harris come from families of slave owners. Then all of a sudden that crap stopped, didn't it? Isn't it funny how that happens? It really is. So I got to tell you, man, paying off the mortgage of our military, good for you, good for Tommy. Tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time is when it's going to be. David Ross is just out of his mind. David Ross was caught on a hot mic saying, I can't believe you're that effing bad. Now, he was caught on mic, and the reason that's interesting is because Kyle Hendricks had only thrown 5 pitches. He didn't like how the umpire, Alex McKay, was calling balls and strikes. I got a technical foul 14 seconds into my first game at St. Bonaventure by a crooked official. Yeah. So guess what? Grandpa Rossi goes out there and he gets yelling and he gets streaming. He tossed Rossi, who jumped from the dugout to confront said McKay. Rossi got booted it last week, remember? Rossi got booted last week and went public how bad they are. Look, Rossi's not a great manager. You've got to be better. You got one blankety blank, starts with a G, ends with an M, got blank blank game before you get a break, and you're that effing bad already. See, here's what. Sometimes you come into a game with the red booty. It appeared that he called McKay a piece of S on his way back to the dugout. Good for him. Look, I'm all in on it. There's nothing better than the Cubs being crappy and at least the manager showing some fire. See Lee Elia, 85% of the world's waking. The other 15 come out here. That was my intro to my show forever. Stock down. Stock down. Let's talk about Janet Yellen, shall we? May we? Can we? Should we? I've had enough of Janet Yellen. You don't know who Janet Yellen is? She's an economist. She was a secretary of the Treasury. I've had enough of her. I just have. I'm not sure why I've had enough of her. She says China and her trip there has been successful in forging relationships. Really? Okay. You know, aren't we all tired of this? Aren't we all tired of having to listen to these people? I'm tired of it. She gave an interview from Beijing. She was there for 10 hours of meetings with all the guys. She held a news conference, said the talks were direct, substantive, and productive. Good. Good for you, Janet Yellen. I'm all in on you, baby. You do you. But I honestly don't give a rat's about any of these people anymore. I'm tired of them. Did I miss something that Janet Yellen did? I don't have my earpiece in. If I did, texts me. I apologize, but she gives me a headache. We're here in China. I'm tired of Joe Biden sniffing little kids. Stock down. Joe Biden, it's time to stop sniffing children. I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't think I don't know. Is it too much to ask? Is it too much to say, yo, President, we understand that your ideology is, hey, look, here's the deal. Your ideology is crap. Your ideology about, sex and all, it's just, stop. It's going away. We're not going to have it anymore. It's on its way out. But stop sniffing little kids. Can you imagine, as a friend of mine's wife said, Dan, the stuff you got to talk about on a daily basis is disturbing. It is. When you got to talk about the President of the United effing States sniffing children. Just stop. You're not cute. You're not grandfatherly. We've seen you try to feel up Eva Longoria. We've seen you try to do all this gross stuff. Just stop it. Please. For the love of all things holy. And stock down, bouncing Bobby Huggins, the cousin of George Costanza. That's right. If you don't think Huggins is Costanza, I didn't quit. You thought I was serious? You thought I was serious. Guys are out there grinding. See how many cheaters we got. The golf outing is coming up. And hey, look, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But Huggins, stock down. Huggins, my backside. I've had enough of Huggins. I've had enough. Hey, woke me and dope me, because I'm going to get out of here about 5 till. I got to go give a speech out there. So wokey dopey me, will you please? Let's see what we got. Stock down, Bob. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Last thing before I get this, keep that woke and dope up there. The Rolling Stone is just completely out of its mind. But I got to tell you, anybody ever, anywhere that tells you that Bob Huggins is going to be reinstated is full of crap. It will not happen. It cannot happen. It won't happen. Don't at me about it, because it just simply is not going to happen. Rolling Stone, thanks to a major marketing mistake, the award-winning French movie Cuties was accused of sexualizing young women. It's actually a sensitive portrayal of growing pains that deserves to be seen. Sound of Freedom, the Quan-tinged thriller about child trafficking, is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer. Well, no, it's not. And it's ridiculous. Why? Okay, I'm a boomer, which means I got experience. I got smarts. I'm not an idiot. I'm not somebody that, I'm not somebody that's just sitting here going, hey, let me just be okay with crazy ass far left people being upset about a movie that destroys sex trafficking. I just learned here in Indiana, little kid, 14 years old, got sold to a Marine in a sex trafficking deal. Indiana's apparently big in sex trafficking. Rolling Stone, my ass. Rolling Stone, go to hell. Rolling Stone, how about you say, you know what, about time we brought this out and away we go. Instead of all this crap. All right, what's next? It's garbage. It makes me mad. It really does. Yeah, it blanks me off. It does. Hey, don't forget, Riley Gaines is starting a podcast here on OutKick, and the first episode is this Wednesday. It is. This Wednesday, Riley Gaines is starting a podcast. Our network continues to explode. Charlie's going to be starting a show here pretty soon. And guess what? This whole thing, we're going to bypass ESPN. I just got to get better. Look, I got to get better. Oh, why white supremacists are not always white. See, they're running out of things with white people. We saw it the other day, right? We saw that idiot Jamel Hill. Now Asians are white supremacists. Black and brown men are committing white supremacist crimes, and that should not surprise anybody. Christopher Rose, Harvard lecturer of government. Really? All right. The whole world's a white supremacist. What the hell? I don't know. I just saw some kid, African-American kid, shooting up 87-year-olds and 40-year-olds in New York City. I don't know white supremacy to me. You know, the definition of white supremacist is somebody, I don't know, that has a mom and dad in the house. Somebody that has a job, somebody that goes to church. That's like that's the white supremacist. We're all supposed to be slobs and D-bags and murderers, I guess. Not me, pal. No, you can call me whatever names you want. But I got to tell you, great relationship with my ex-wife, unbelievable, love of my life I'm married to, stepkids awesome because not only did me and Lee raise great kids, Jim, Lee's ex-husband, and Jackie, my ex-wife, we all raised great kids. We all had a hand. So you want to call white supremacists, good. You do you. If you got a mom and a dad in the house, if you got a damn job, if you go to church, and if you take care of your kids, then you're a white supremacist. Christopher Rhodes, boom. Who else? Excuse me. Give me number 3. I got excited there. I did. I got all fired up. Oh my God, Dakich is drinking. Indy Star's gonna kill you. Hey, how come the Indy Star or USA Today and Dan Wolken, how come all those guys don't have golf outings? How come those guys don't raise money for anything? I wonder. It's exactly like Twitter, but with way more censorship. Threads, really? Oh, good. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, and I don't care. That's like Reggie Wayne. Hey, guys, who's switching over? Hey, Reggie, I don't know. Do the Patriots, do the Rams, do the Chiefs? I don't know, do the Eagles coaches worry about who's switching over on Twitter? Told you, it takes about 5 some guys longer. Reggie Wayne's used to people giving a rat's ass about what he thinks. He still thinks people do. They don't. Make the team better. You're a coach. You're like the 20th coach on a staff. You were so bad that, guess what? They brought in Jeff Saturday as the former player to coach the team, not you. So shut up and do your job. Same thing here. Well, you know. No. All right, I got to go. I got to run a golf tournament. I never stop this show early because I love doing it. It's the highlight of my day. But guys, Ryan, thank you, my friend. Nick and everybody associated with this show. Dylan, you stud, you. I'm going to go get a tournament started. Subscribe, like, and do not forget tonight, Tommy Lawrence, Towers to Tunnels. And don't forget, Riley Gaines starts her podcast on Wednesday. Have a great afternoon, everybody. I got to go.